guys, Manowar Kid here, coming to you again. How's everybody doing out there? The Honorable Warrior is back after some intense training, guys, that I was doing last week. As you saw, the giant size episode is up. I appreciate everybody who checked out and saw what I thought of the last 2 weeks, first 2 weeks of August books. But I'm pretty much back on track. People wanted to know what was I training in. I was training certain martial arts, pretty much my taekwondo, my kempo, and my Shotokan karate, pretty much. And also helping out with some of the younger students and things like that. So yeah, it took a lot of my time, and I couldn't get able to read a lot of my books, so I had to wait. But there you go. So that's what I was doing. Intense training. And I'm still feeling a little bit sore, but the barbecue that I had, that helped out. But enough about that, guys. You're here for the comics, and what did I thought about? If you saw the haul video, my second haul video, you probably want to know what I thought about for those books. So let's kick it off, shall we? So first and foremost, we're going to start it off in independent. And independent-wise, let's kick it off with the first independent book. We're going Image, and we start off with Booyah, The Bouts. This is issue number 4. As always, I said it before, this is just a trippy book. Ooh la la. Yeah. How can I put this? Basically, Joe Casey continues to keep us intrigued and keep us entering Jasper Jenkins' world and his life as the hero, as he plays hero as the Bounce. He interrupts a villain or someone who's kind of like him in a sense, but the only problem is this big rock-like behemoth guy doesn't speak a lick of English, so Jasper don't know what he's saying. He speaks Spanish, so he's really like, man, I wish I'd have spent more time in Miss Juarez's Spanish class and things like that. And it gets more in depth into maybe the people that are responsible for this gateway that he once took a trip in the past few episodes, in the past few issues. This woman on the cover, she seems to be a psychic, fortune teller, so to speak, that Jasper goes to see because he got it out of his brother's file, who seems to have a lot of files on people that are kind of like Jasper. But other than that, still interesting, very, very much still not too trippy this time. Jasper wasn't hitting the pipe, or he wasn't smoking a bong or anything like that. He was being kind of more of a hero. There was more investigating hero in a sense, and you kind of could thank that to his roommate. But other than that, the Bounce number 4, pretty good. Still solid. Alright, we move on to IDW, and with IDW we have none other than Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles New Animated Adventures. This is issue number 2. Yeah, the cover pretty much kind of gives it away who's in this issue. Yes, Snakeweed plays a big role in this issue. Snakeweed basically, without spoiling too much, Snakeweed basically tries to mutate the entire, basically New York, by having all these pods around. He's trying to make people into what he is, everything like that. He's becoming more and more less human and more plant-like. He even says it in the story. So it's up to the Turtles to try to figure out how to stop him and kind of how could I put it, become one with nature, because there's a lesson in the beginning that pretty much Master Splinter talks about, that ninja need to be one with nature and things like that. So he's Leonardo's really on the cuff about, doing certain things. But other than that, it was real fun. This felt just like an extended episode, or just another episode of the show that's on now. But it was still good, very much. Keep up the good work, IDW. And I must give the credit to, it was written by Kenny Bervely. I hope I'm saying your name right. And the artwork is done by Dario Brazula. I hope I'm saying your name right. Which is fine. Good stuff. Alright, let's move on to a book that came out last week, but I didn't get to read it, and I was a little bit upset about it because it got sold out at my store, and I finally was able to get it. Now, I hope I pronounce it right this time, because they helped correct me last time on one of my vids. So we're moving on to New Paradigm. I hope I'm saying that right? Watson and Holmes, number 2. Still written by Carl Rowlands, and the artwork is Ricky Lenardi. This was just still terrific writing, terrific action, terrific, just all around goodness from what you would expect from Watson and Holmes, but just a different color. The duo is still trying to find a certain suspect in their investigation. They pretty much lead a chase all around in the upper side of Manhattan. They get closer and closer to they follow the clues and follow their leads, and it helps them a lot in this, pretty much. Dr. Watson here is starting to become a little bit more interesting in Holmes here, and he's also starting to really kind of trust Holmes, and we also get a little bit of more in depth into some of the characters, especially Watson, that he has a son and everything like that, and not everything is hunky-dory on that side of the tracks. But other than that, still solid goodness. I've still been loving this. Only 2 issues in this issue was worth the wait, even though I wish I'd have got it last week, but it was worth it. Do yourselves a favor, support New Paradigms, Watson and Holmes. You won't be disappointed, I promise you, especially if you're a fan of Sherlock Holmes and Watson, because I'm a big fan of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's literature of Sherlock Holmes. But once again, like I said, this is just them with a different color. But still goodness. Alright, so we move on to Valiant. This is Exo Manowar, number 16. You got Alric on the cover fighting one of his teachers, the trying to remember his Galad, the Eternal Warrior. Now, since Alric has returned back to Earth, he's trying to claim Romania as his own. Like he feels that he's the king of the Visigoth, and he should be ruling kind of modern day Rome, which was once the Visigoths, home of base and operation, thing like that. The Eternal Warrior here, Galad, comes to tell him, like, you can't just do this. You can't do this. It's not right. There are laws now, and if you do it, you could go against. You could start a war. And Alaric is really being stubborn. He's trying to say, I will crush anybody who, with the armor and everything like that. And we kind of get an impromptu fight about it. But that's mainly the gist of this. Figuring out, what is Alaric going to do? Is he going to fight? Is he going to try to take over Romania and make it his own because he's the king of the Visigoth? Or are we going to see something else? You don't know. But whatever it is, it's big, it's coming, and we'll just have to see how Alaric does with it. Okay? Excuse me. Cream soda. Cream soda. So we move on to ZENESCOPE, and once again, Joe Bushia and Pat Shane just gives us pure goodness with Realm Knights. This is issue number 1. First of all, like I said before, I've been. If you're not on board with something from ZENESCOPE, get on board. Wait a while, or find something from their back issues. Go to their website and look for, just look at some of their past titles. I guarantee you'll find something that you like. And this is basically the first team of the Grimm universe. So we have Red Riding Hood, Robin Hood, Captain Hook, kinda, and I'm always forgetting this woman's name, and Shang. She actually has connections to Robin here. So basically, the government that is funding this team needs them to get together once again to investigate the return of the gods, in a sense. The gods are in this Zeus, Neptune, and Hades, and they're investigating that. It also gives you a sense of this. Tells you where this story takes place. This takes place before the events of this. There's an event going on in the Grimm universe called Unleashed. So it says the Realm Knights takes place. It takes place after the events of Unleashed. But solid writing once again by Mr. Russia and Mr. Shant. I loved it. As out of all my favorite, out of the characters here, still my favorite is still Robin. And Robin really in this is not really kind of how can I say it? Kind of a team person. She's not really on the cuff a team player. But it leaves you like wondering, how is this team going to cope with this? Will the government that funds them keep up their promise to them, especially to Robin, and things like that? And there's a lot of things going on. It just makes you wonder, okay, what's coming up next, and things like that. It kind of ends on a cliffhanger in a sense, because we get to see something that Hades finds an artifact that he was looking for. But other than that, Realm Knights is really good, very good indeed. Alright, so we move on to DC, and the first we're talking about is Batman Beyond Universe number 1. New creative team. The first story in this is written by Kyle Higgins, and basically in the first story we see that the mayor of Neo Gotham was in, what does he call this new Arkham what does he call it? He calls it the Arkham Institute instead of Arkham Asylum. It's called Arkham Institute. And the new mayor basically is introducing the the press and everything to this, and all of a sudden he just has a heart attack. And it's up to Terry and Barbara, who is the commissioner, to figure out what's going on, how this heart attack happened. Since he's a very healthy man, and he has no history of cardiac arrest and things like that. No kind of history. Terry he's doing double duties once again. He's trying to do his role as Batman, but also trying to go to college. Terry now is in college. He's still kind of on the offs with Dana. Him and Dana are not together anymore. But he's getting more help from the other Bat families besides Bruce. Him and Bruce had a falling out. And he's getting help from, let me show you. I'll show you who he's getting help from. Not just Barbara, but he's getting help from Dick Grayson, former Nightwing. And Dick has one eye now. He's got only one eye now, and that's kind of interesting. But he looks cool. And of course, him and Barbara, are still on the ups, and that's the main gist of that story. They're still trying to he's just trying to figure out who caused this heart attack, how did this mayor die, and everything like that. As for the second story deals with the Justice League of Beyond, basically Mike Rom, Warhawk, Barda, Green Lantern, of course, Superman, and Batman, and Mr. Miracle is also in this. We see Mr. Miracle, as well as the Aquagirl, Captain Marvel, and we also get to see the Beyond universe of the Flash right there. So that was cool. Basically, in this story, something happens to Superman. There was this explosion on the sun. It's like this alien ship landed on the sun and caused the sun almost to really expose more radiation. So now Superman's abilities are so supercharged, he's a danger to pretty much the rest of the teammates and everything like that, and he doesn't know how to control it. Like, his heat vision will just come out of nowhere when he just tries to make a little spin. He spins a little fast to make maybe a short tornado. He will make a big hurricane, things like that. And Superman doesn't want to hurt anybody, so he kind of starts going into isolation, and he asks Billy Batson, Captain Marvel, it's not Shazam in this, can he, can he take over his spot for a while, things like that. But then it comes down to the point where Clark feels that he needs to basically get rid of his powers, become kind of mortal, and he kind of gets it. Now in the Beyond universe, now he goes by the name of Cal Kent, not Clark Kent, and he's a firefighter actually. So that was I was like, wow, he's a firefighter, and that was interesting. But the stories were good, and that story was written by Christos Engage. But other than that, this was really good, very good. If you are a fan of the Batman Beyond universe, give this a try. You won't be disappointed, I promise you. Batwoman, number 23. Oh my God. Mr. Williams III still just gives us just a good treasure with this. Katie is really just trying very hard to how can I put it? She's just trying to let her lover, fiance Maggie, know that, look, she's sorry for what she did to her and everything like that. And to prove it, she injects herself with fear toxin, because Katie did it to her one time as Batwoman. And she goes through the withdrawal, of course, what happens with fear toxin, things like that. And on the other side, Betty is interrogating people of the organization that her cousin works for and trying to get, some intel on them and things like that, along with her uncle. And that was the main gist of this story. But it was still solid, still good, and it kind of ended really nice and sweet, because I really enjoyed it. Because when I read it, I even was like, oh, that was kind of nice. Maggie stayed with Katie all night, and I love where she says, do you forgive me? She's like, yeah, I forgive you. And then she says, do you still want to marry me? She's like, yes. And say it again. She says, Maggie Sawyer, will you marry me? And there's a little kiss, and that got me. I was like, yeah, And then they kiss again. It's like, oh yeah, that's great. But yeah, solid stuff. Still good. Batwoman. I'm still looking forward to this big confrontation, I guess, with Batman. Alright. So let's move on to He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, number 5. Keith Giffen still does a fantastic job. This is the origin of Despera and everything like that. Don't want to spoil too much about this. Just gotta read it. A lot is explained in this. Explained very well for people who never knew that He-Man and She-Ra were twin brother and sister and things like that. But it's explained very well in there. The ending, I'll let you on that. The ending was really good, but also like, wow, especially with Teela. It was like, wow, Teela. Is that whole saying, eye for an eye, really plays off in this. But very good, still good. This series has just been solid, and we're only 5 issues in. Now, a lot of people have been asking me, am I going to pick up the DC Universe versus He-Man and the Masters Universe? Yes, I am. That'll probably be the last kind of, I hope that's just, it's not really, I'm hoping it's just the title is false advertising, because I have a feeling that what's going to happen is, since Skeletor is on the DC Universe Earth, okay, I have a feeling is that there's going to be a misunderstanding between whoever, the Justice League and He-Man and his squad. They're going to fight, then they understand they got a common goal, there we go. I will take that. But if it's a 6-part miniseries, if it's 4 issues of them just going non-stop fighting, then I'm gonna be a little disappointed. But I will pick it up, because I heard a couple of my friends were saying they're not sure unless they hear good things about it. So most of the time, you guys will come to me with that stuff. Sometimes I'll be the guy to kind of give you a sense of if it's good or not. And yeah, I'll be honest with you. I know it's going to be written by Keith Giffen, the same guy who's writing that book, and also going to be drawn by Dexter Soy. So that's cool. All right. So let's move on to Green Lantern, New Guardians, number 23. Justin Jordan, Brad Walker, Andrew Hennessy, excuse me. Wow, this was intense, very intense. We get a little bit more smidget of why Relic is doing the things he's doing. It's not so good for the Blue Lanterns in this, not at all. It doesn't end well for a couple of the members of the Blue Lantern Corps. That's pretty much what you're gonna get. But we get a little bit more gist of why Relic is doing the things he is, and Carol explains it. I'm not gonna spoil why he's doing it, but let me tell you, it has a lot of connection to a certain emotion. That's all you're gonna get. But this was really good. Definitely very good. Might pick up that one shot that, for the Villains Week of Relic. They're gonna do his origin. I've been looking more at these one shots, and like I told you guys, you probably won't see a lot of DC in the month of September for me, but you'll see probably some, because there are some I'm looking interested in picking up, but not a lot. Right, and last but not least, Superman Unchained #3. Snyder, Lee. This still continues to be just all around good. Alright, so we get to find out who this guy really is. He's an alien, just like Superman, but he came years before Superman. Speaking, let me see if I remember. He came during the time of, he actually came around 1938. So he's been on Earth a little bit longer than Superman, and he's been studying Superman. His name, Wrath. And I'm like, what's with the name Wrath? I'm trying to figure that out. I'm like, what is with the name Wrath? Why is this seems to be a very powerful name, Wrath. But his name Wrath, it actually stands for something. If I remember what it stands for, the man who found him first. Let me see if I can find it. What is his name again? What does it stand for? What's his name? Because Superman and General Lane still ain't really getting along, even after everything. Oh, it stands for William Rudolph's Ace in the Hole. So that's what Wrath stands for. They have kind of a fight, Superman and Wrath, and let me just show you how far Wrath kicked Superman. It was so crazy. They're in, I think, New Mexico or so, and you just see, like, here he is kicking. He like punched Superman, bam, and then you see here Superman's just sliding all the way. That map right there in the middle, that's like a map, and things like that. Yeah, this was really good. This character Wrath is very much into Superman, but he's into but there's more to him, and there's something that he says at the end of this book that really kind of gets Superman's attention, and he's like what? But yeah, to me, best Superman title right now. Just good stuff. This is kind of like, Gabi says it, this is how Superman should be written. Good stuff. Alright, so we move on to Marvel. We'll end this with Marvel. Alright, and we'll start off with Avengers 18. Once again, like I said, I got the variant cover. This is the variant cover celebrating 50 years of Avengers. In this issue, it's a tie-in to, the event Infinity. Guys, I can tell you right now, if you are just going to read the main story, that's fine. You don't really have to read the tie-ins unless you already collect the comics that they're in, like me. But in this issue, Avengers Universe, Jonathan Hickman and Leland Francis Yu, who is the artwork, great artwork. I've always loved his artwork. We see them finally kind of have a battle plan. All the Galaxy Council come together. I'm talking about the Shi'ar, the Kree, the Brood, the Annihilus. I'm not even joking. Annihilus. Who else is involved in this? The Kree, Annihilus, the Brood, as well as the Spartax, Empire, Star-Lord's father's race, his race, as well as we get a glimpse of, as well as the remaining members of the Skrull Empire. And now the Skrulls are pretty much led by Kurlik, the Super Skrull. And they kind of forge a plan of, going for this attack and everything like that. And that's the basis of this issue. That's pretty much the basis of it. But it doesn't go all according to plan. But this was just seeing all these races come together to, because they know that what's coming, the builders and Thanos, it's going to be big. What really was interesting is hearing Black Widow talk to Spider-Woman, and she's like, the Skrulls, are you going to be cool with that? You know that the Skrulls and Spider-Woman have a big history, so it was kind of interesting indeed. But that's the basis of this all. Pretty good. All right, and we move on to Avengers Assemble 18. Kelly Sue DeConnick does a good job writing this. This issue is sought through the eyes of Jessica Drew on the cover. Before they were going into this, I think this issue kind of takes before and in between issue 18 of Avengers. And in this issue, once again, we kind of is seen all through Jessica's eyes. Now, this issue kind of basically spoils what happens to Carol. What happens to Carol that happened to her in after the last issue of Captain Marvel. I'm not going to spoil what happens to her, but it was like, wow, because she's talking about some of the people. So talking about Carol being her best friend, she's talking about Hawkeye being her boyfriend and everything like that. And we just see, them going on the mission and helping out. And, once again, Jessica nearly dies, nearly gets stranded out of space, and she is helped by the one alien race she don't want nothing to do with. And you believe you can bet what that alien race was. But other than that, Mr. DeConnick, just solid writing as always, and it was good to see this book through Spider-Woman's eyes. Good stuff. Alright, then we move on to some goodness. Like I said, always looking forward to always looking forward to reading this title, Daredevil number 30. Look, my man Norrin Rad on the cover. Now, does this happen? Do they fight? Not necessarily. And it wouldn't be even a fair contest if they did. But without spoiling too much for you, Matt comes into his office. He comes and, you know, he's reminiscing about all the women that worked in his, you know, in the office with them. He's talking about Karen Page. He even says it. Karen was my first love. If y'all know anything about Daredevil, Karen Page was the first receptionist that, you know, Matt and Foggy had, and she and Matt fell in love, things like that. Talking about all, and then of course, a current love interest that Mr. Wade was doing in this book comes back and says, you need help, and things like that. All of a sudden, Matt walks into his other office. He's starting to sense somebody else is here. He walks in, and he sees this individual who isn't human. And this human starts talking about he knows who he is. He's been watching footage of him of a lecture that he did at a college, and it's finally reached his planet and everything like that. And you're like, okay, whoa. At first you're reading this, you're like, really, Mr. Wade, what is this? And then after a while you start reading. Then all of a sudden, that's when Matt starts sensing the surfer. He's like, okay, somebody just whipped by my window really fast. Surfer comes in, and things start getting interesting because you start to find out that looks are deceiving. And even though Matt can't officially see this alien too clearly, the surfer knows him, and he's trying to tell Matt that he is pretty much not who he says he is. And that's where the adventure begins. And it's just really stellar one-shot goodness from Mr. Wade. I guarantee you won't be disappointed, because it's just good. Very good indeed. I loved Matt telling the surfer, you know, if you're going to help me, I'll drive. And he's kind of surfing the surfboard and stuff. It was funny. Superior Spider-Man, number 16, Dan Slott, Ramos. That cover, does that happen? Not physically, but kind of metaphorically it does. Without spoiling too much for you, Ock pulls this crap out of his hat by broadcasting that Phil Urich is the Hobgoblin. Phil is at the Daily Bugle. We saw at the end of the last issue, and he's there, you know, with his uncle Ben Urich and, you know, Robbie and, you know, and everybody like that, and they're just looking around like, hey, Phil, is that true? Is that true? Is that true? And so it doesn't become more of a game of cat and mouse this time. It becomes more of, is Phil gonna, you know, broadcast that he is, or is he still gonna try to play dumb? But it all doesn't go well for Phil in this at all. Not at all. It kind of ends in kind of like a double-edged sword for Phil. When one chapter closes, another one opens for Phil, which I'm not going to spoil because it has something to do with a certain character we've been seeing in the book, and Phil and his new identity, which I'm not going to spoil. But this character tells him it is time, Phil, for you to get out of Kingsley's shadow now and rise as this new alter ego, which I'm not going to spoil. But once again, other than that, a good ride. And of course, Captain Watanabe and you know, Carly Cooper are still following the money trails of Ock, and you know, they're trying to figure out, you know, where's this money coming from? How is he paying for this? The Avengers now are getting back involved. Cap calls Ock and says, you know, what's going on? We see you got an army now and a robot. Remember, you're still on probation. You know, we need to talk once again. But yeah. All right. And Venom, number 39. Now, sad because we're only getting a few more issues of Venom before it's canceled at issue 42. Really sad to see this coming. This is one of the books that's getting canceled. But I heard Bun say it's not over for Flash, but yeah, it's being canceled. The last issue leaves off with a big cliffhanger. We kind of get some retribution and some good fashion action in this, as well as why did the symbiote do what it did to the girl Annie, Andy, or I think that's how you say her name, Andy, and why, basically, in a sense. Now, what happened was, as basically, I'll show you. Well, she has a piece of the symbiote on her after the jack-o'-lantern killed her father. So she has all the abilities that the Venom symbiote would give you, and for some reason she's fully in control of it, in a sense. Like she's learning it very quickly, faster than faster than Flash ever did. But Flash is trying to protect her, and he's trying to keep Jack-o'-lantern. We find out that this Jack-o'-lantern is not who he says he is, and Flash is just trying to stay one step ahead of all these assassins that Lord Ogre sicked on him. That's pretty much all I need to talk about, because it gets a little bit more in depth from there. But the fact of the matter is, yeah, the main gist of it is trying to figure out what Flash wants. Why did the symbiote do this to this girl, one of his students? And there it is. The question is why. And I love the last panel where he basically says, I need to know why, but the person that can tell me, he ain't talking to me now. So and he's looking at the symbiote. But other than that, great stuff, Mr. Bun. Really good indeed. Alright, and we move on to X Factor number 261. Peter David, and who does the artwork in this? Neil Edwards. Okay, this is part 5 of 6 of End of X Factor. Alright, in this issue it stars Darwin and Monet. Darwin is in Las Vegas and he's trying to track down Hela, Loki's daughter. She's responsible for why Darwin acts the way he does now. He doesn't have any feelings, in a sense. Excuse me. And he's basically trying to figure that out. And then all of a sudden he runs into Monet. And when he sees her, he's like, Monet, wait a minute. So when she comes down to face with, he slugs her. Now, if you've been reading X Factor, don't put your hands on Monet. Now, Monet is basically, she's a mutant, but she has so many different mutant powers, it's crazy. As you all know, she's telepathic, she can fly, she's got super strength, she's invulnerable, and she's got a telekinesis as well. That's crazy. So she's got a lot of different abilities for a mutant. And he's like, you're not her, you're some kind of hell spawn demon or something in her form. And she's like, no, it's me. And there's not a lot of action in this. It's more dialogue heavy. But this is the first time in this story arc, that we kind of see that it's more of just a laid back, it's just laid back, not a lot of action, just really dialogue heavy with good storytelling, and two characters in there that are not just just wham bam hitting each other. it kind of ends, with Monette, Darwin telling Monette, like, I love you, I've always loved you, and things like that. And she's like, you're crazy, but they're sitting down having drinks and everything. They're just talking. And then that's why, and then later on we find them, they slept together, Monette and Darwin, and he's just like, I can't sleep. And after what Hela did to me, I haven't slept anymore. And Hela comes in. She is like, hope I'm not interrupting anything. Basically, like she's saying, I heard you were looking for me. What do you want? And then he's like, it's never mind. I like the way I am. I wouldn't change anything. And Hela just goes away, and it ends on a good note. It's like okay, but this was still good. Good writing, solid, excellent writing by Peter David. One more to go, and pretty much. You can see it close. Like I said, gonna miss that title. Can you believe that, guys? Arizona makes soda now. Destiny bought this for me. She left this for me. Shack soda. Can you believe that? But she knows I love cream soda. Okay. Next up, we end this, guys, on another good note. This was just a really good, solid issue. And X-Men #4, Brian Woods, Olivia Coppel. Olivia Coppel does not, does the artwork in there. This time we got David Lopez on the artwork, and his artwork was good. It was good. Enjoyed it very much. And so in this issue, basically, the ladies are helping pilot in a plane has lost engine troubles, and they're trying to help out, trying to get all the passengers off, things like that. And in the meantime, Storm and Rachel are having some major heat with each other. They're like, especially after the ending of the last issue, and they're really kind of going at it with each other, and the other ladies are just watching, like, okay, what is going on, like, things like that. But while that's going on, Jubilee and Wolverine and Jubilee's little baby Shogo are in Southern California, where Jubilee, she's a Cali girl. She grew up in Southern California, and they're on the beach. They're just relaxing. Now, here is the first issue for all those who are trying to wonder, is Jubilee still a vampire? Yes, she is, because she's in, I'll show it to you. She's on the beach, sunny beach, and look where she's at. She's behind an umbrella. She's got shades on. And she even says it. Basically, she's basically saying, when she used to come down to the beach all the time, and then she says it. Now she UV rays, it's kind of stresses her, that the UV ray, and she also goes on to say, even with my light benders, I'll never be able to enjoy the beach like I used to. She has like these light benders that keeps like the UV rays from really hitting her, so she, because she's still a vampire. But Logan's just along for the ride, and we're going from back and forth from story to story. From that, what's going on with Logan and Jubilee, to what's going on with the ladies, and some of the funny stuff is just with Rogue, how she's loving Betsy Psylocke's abilities. Psylocke is coming up with some new ideas how to use her telekinetic powers. She's now making telekinetic crossbows and stuff, and she talks about how she's been able to do it. She's been training in this medieval program in the Danger Room. It's really fun. She talks about it, and back and forth between Rachel and Storm. It gets really intense. It's almost to the point I thought Storm was going to hit her at one point, because they get that eye lock on each other, like dun 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 dun, and it ends on a good note. Even to the point where, for Wolverine and Jubilee, they even go by Jubilee's old house that she used to live in, and it's for sale. And Wolverine's like, hey, it's for sale now. I can buy it for you and everything like that. And she's like, no, it's okay. I like, I'm home with you guys now and everything like that. But does Wolverine buy it? I'll spoil it for you. Yeah, he does. He still buys the house for her, even though she might be mad about it, but she does. But yeah, this was just a really solid, fun issue. Not a lot of action, but just good dialogue and just good stuff between these two characters, Wolverine and Jubilee. I mean, they've been so tight with each other for so many years. It's good to see that they're still like that. And I love the ending where, which I'll show you basically. Jubilee takes a picture. Wolverine takes a picture of Jubilee and Shogo. This is just good. It was just perfect. But now the stories will go into that X-Men event called the Battle of the Atoms. All the X-Men books will be dealing with that. And yeah, that was good. So guys, that is it, guys. That is all I got for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'll see you guys next week, God willing, as always. You never know, because something might change. But if anything ever changes, guys, you know me. I'll let you guys know. Whether you follow me on Facebook or Twitter or on Tumblr, I'll let you guys know. But other than that, and here, of course. And other than that, guys, this is Mount Vernon Kid, the Honorable Warrior, as always, saying peace and love. Stay tuned, keep it real, guys. As always, follow me. Like I said, all the places. Follow the DarkAvengerINC family, Blue Goblin, FatStakeofComics. You guys know me. Just follow them all. You won't be disappointed. And I'll check you guys later. Guys, take care.